Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Capitalist Investor. As always, you have me, Diamond Hands D, and the boys are back. Cool Hand Luke and Tony the Tiger. What's up, guys?
Sup?
How we doing?
Keeping it real.
I had one of the best sandwiches I ever had, Cheesecake Factory, last night.
Sandwich.
Yeah, it was like a ribeye, cheesesteak, Azure sauce, sandwich. And it was...
Was there a lot?
Okay,
of
so
was there a lot of meat on it?
about this. Yeah, we were talking about this before real quick. I don't think you're supposed to get burger meat medium rare. I thought it was more like going to be steak meat. It was more burger meat. And medium rare, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get all my burgers medium rare from now on. I don't care if I get salmonella.
You have to.
I don't care if I get salmonella. It's really good.
I used to do medium well.
Yeah.
Like it's like medium to medium rare nowadays for the hamburgers.
I'll risk it. I'm going to risk it because that was so damn good. I'll risk it for the biscuit.
See, not for the biscuit. See, like I'm a double meat guy. Like I need, like I'll go to like Mr. Hero and like double down on the meat. Like,
Double meat, double bacon?
Yeah, just
Heart attack on a plate.
Yeah, and I'll even throw away a piece of bun, so it's just like the top or the bottom of the bun because I'm just
Good for health reasons.
Yeah,
obviously.
healthy, obviously. And we're moving on. All right, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about, it is earnings season, and the big boys are reporting this week. All the tech.
We're going to be big boys after all the steak sandwiches.
Yeah, the double meats will get you a husky. Like I said, I work out so I can stay husky.
That's right.
It's not to lose weight. I'm just trying to maintain. All right.
Big boys reporting.
Big boys reporting, and when I say big boys, all the mega techs that supported the market last year. UPS. Laying off people, stock declined, revenues are down. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about Doomsday bunkers. Nice little fun little thing, and then we got a canceled. I've been saying this for years. I live by it for the most part, and I think it's a public service announcement.
There we go.
All right, earnings. They've kicked off, and we already have like Microsoft reported, Google reported. I think Google's down. They reported. So here's the thing: is, and our investment team kind of says this all the time, that like these stocks, the Amazons, the Netflix, the Googles, the Microsofts, they're priced literally for perfection because they have. Not for like Apple, for example, like they are priced for perfection because they had negative earnings growth last year and they still went up. How is that possible? It's called multiple expansion. It is betting on the come is what I'd call it if you're a craps player, right? And I don't know how long it's sustainable.
Yeah.
But I did, I could also argue that. Nobody knows anything else. They know these 7 stocks. They're scared to dip into the other 493 stocks. And if these stocks go down, does the average investor look at it as a buying opportunity? So, you guys have any comments on what do you guys think on that?
I think the winner yesterday is obviously artificial intelligence. I mean, you look at what Google talked about, Microsoft talked about. What got investors excited was obviously the cloud and AI aspects of all the businesses, right? It's the same story we've been talking about. And the obvious winners is those that play in the artificial intelligence space, I think, coming off the earnings calls. I mean, you take a look at Microsoft's cloud business. Azure, I think, still grew to 25 or 30%. Like, it's insane.
Well, so that's so I
it's
look
still
at
a growth stock.
I look at that as an economic forward mechanism, right? Because Google has obviously their digital ads, they're not their digital ads, but their digital space, the storage, right? The cloud. And as long as the cloud is still growing, that means businesses are growing. They're capturing data. They're saving it somewhere. I think once you see cloud, obviously the acceleration of how it's growing is slowing down, but it's still growing.
The fact that Microsoft's their biggest businesses internally being the cloud Azure business still growing at 25-30%. I mean, and it's a $2 trillion or $3 trillion company, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we talk about, and this is what I really want to get across today. when we talk about Microsoft, why we like Microsoft so much more than like the Apples of the world, like that's still valued at $3 trillion. Apple's not growing at any of their businesses like at 30%. Like they're not rocking and rolling like Azure is for Microsoft. So, you know, when you talk about multiple expansion, like Microsoft's valuation might be justified.
Yes,
because they're still growing rapidly.
Of the 7,
Apple's, you know, multiple might not be justified.
Of the 7, the Magnificent 7 of last year, Microsoft, I feel, is, you know, they're the horse to beat.
Right.
I think they are appropriately priced. Everyone else, you know, they're again priced for perfection.
Yep, for sure.
But Google, they did, you know, the other side of the Google part, you know, the reason they're down is like their ad revenue was a miss.
Yep.
So people aren't advertising. That's not a good thing. But I look at cloud is one way.
Yep.
But
AMD was one of the biggest that reported. We haven't talked about them. I mean, AMD kind of sheds light on the chip manufacturers, right? And they kind of guided a little lower than people thought.
They beat top and bottom line, but they guided a little bit lower forecasting. Right. But didn't they come out like a couple weeks ago and forecast like, hey, we're going to make like $4 extra billion this year in the market, and the stock went up 10%.
Yeah, they boosted like $1.5 billion estimates. So
yeah,
they already kind of set expectations.
They set expectations, and I don't know, maybe they're just like, you know, not setting themselves up for failure down the road. You know, like, hey, we're growing, just maybe not as fast as this. And
well, I think they're playing it smart. They
Yes.
know how focused investors are. NVIDIA and AMD both. And all these chip manufacturers they know and understand the environment we're in to where investors are getting excited. So they're really trying to tame expectations so that way they don't have a 50% sell off down the road at some point in time.
Yeah. So yeah, as more people, you know, I'm sure there'll be more earnings for later this week. So maybe we'll have some more insight next week on how all the mega cap stuff plays out. Next topic was UPS. They you know, they said they saw a $9 billion decline in revenue year over year. It seems like a lot. And you know, but then they also made like the headlines by laying off 12,000 jobs.
Yep.
All right, and that's like 3% of their staff or their staffing, right? But how many people did they hire for the busy season, the holiday season? Probably 100,000.
Yep. So
did they really get rid of 12,000 people or keep 90? A question mark?
Question mark.
So I don't know. It depends on what lens you're looking through, and also like you mentioned it last week, Luke. Like reading through the headline, like what's really happening, right? The Taiwan. We talked about the Taiwan election. Mm-hmm. You know, what really happened, right?
You know, this is what I always ask. This is my mentality in life. It's like, what's really going on? And when I look at this UPS scenario, I think it sheds a lot of light into actually a topic we talked about probably 6 months ago. Remember with the Teamsters deal when they, Teamsters were fighting all the unions, or the union was fighting all these companies to get good jobs and raise wages and things like that. One of the UPS drivers in like 10 years are going to be making $180,000 with the deal they struck. Yep. So basically, to keep the drivers on, this is the same thing we've talked about economically, right? It's like the minimum wage philosophy. You raise the minimum wage, what ends up happening? Workers get replaced. This is what's happening. It's already happening with UPS drivers. They're preparing for the next 10 years and saying, okay, we're okay with giving this deal, with this Teamsters deal. We're okay giving this deal to you guys and raising your wages this much, but not all of you guys are going to have jobs anymore.
Right.
And UPS is probably on the pathway of, we talk about autonomous driving. We talk about EVs a lot, right? What about the Ubers of the world, the UPSs of the world that are able to deliver autonomous, eventually autonomous packages with their autonomous driving capabilities?
With the drones that they talked about?
Yeah, will there ever be any workers 10 years from now even, at this point? So, I think this is actually the pathway to lightening up their workload because they're paying these people more money, and eventually they're all going to be gone anyway.
Yep, that was the first thing that came to mind for me was all the memes, 6 months ago with the UPS drivers and how much money that they were making. This is an inevitable step after something like that happens. When you pay people too much, this is going on in every single industry. Just the kind of the shift of, moving from the kind of the power on the employer versus the employee. The employee has the power right now, and we've seen it with all these deals that have come through in the last year. But that is going to shift, and that is going to shift soon. And it's kind of like the college NIL deals, right? I'll always bring it back to some kind of random sports metaphor. Eventually, the people who are putting in millions of dollars are going to realize they are getting absolutely nothing for the money that they're putting in there.
Yep.
And that is when it's going to start to become more reasonable. There's no reason to pay 4-star recruits $10,000 just to come for a campus visit. That is insanity. The wages that are being negotiated now for important jobs. I don't want to minimize any jobs at all. But if you pay your employees way too much, it's going to have effects up the line and down the line, and we're seeing that on both sides. And this UPS example is a classic example of that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. When does I'm sure FedEx will fall in line as well, because
they won't because they don't have that same deal. They weren't getting the whole Teamsters, like the whole,
they're gonna have to figure something out, because they're gonna have to stay competitive with UPS.
They're gonna have to stay competitive by I think this is the power of the free markets, is they have more. They as a company, they have more flexibility than someone like UPS. So they're able to adapt quicker and not have to make these big changes and shifts.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but like if one company does it, why wouldn't a FedEx guy leave to go to UPS other than loyalty or whatever?
Because maybe they're not hiring.
Maybe not, but because maybe they're letting people go. All right. Dude, all right. So now, just before we hit the bunkers, the Doomsday bunker thing, like, all right. So the Fed is coming out today. Could really move markets. We obviously tape on a Wednesday. They're going to talk on a Wednesday, and you're going to maybe see the ups and the downs of that. But as they talk today, what happens tomorrow? Any idea what they're going to say? Any vision of what that dude's gonna come out
blah,
and
blah,
say?
blah, 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 blah. A whole bunch of nuts.
Does a bunch of crap to send the market in downward spiral.
Again, it's bad news is good news for the market.
I think here's what's gonna happen. I think the 6 rate cuts that the market was pricing in is very, very much over the top.
Jerome said
3.
My boy Jerome said that there's going to be 3.
Right.
The market priced in 6.
So I think you're going to basically hear very much of the same. So that 6 is going to go down to like 5.
The analysts are going to say, "Oh, well, based on he said 3 again, so maybe we should go from 6 to 5."
That's what I think is going to happen. Actually.
Yeah. All right. And then
I don't know much, but how could anyone think that there was going to be a rate cut in March? Like in December, how is that going to happen?
I mean, and if you're pricing in 6, they don't do anything less than a quarter.
You know how it's going to happen? We shouldn't joke about that. You know how that's going to happen? Very similar thing, possibly like last year with Silicon Valley Bank. That's how it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. If something breaks again, because what was it? Early March last year.
Yeah.
The Silicon Valley Bank broke. Yeah. Like if something, like hypothetically, I'm not saying that's going to happen. That's the only way we have a rate cut in March.
Yeah. One of my buddies is he's a perma bear. Yeah, he's looking for things for the market to go down, and I guess there's a bank in New York that's
on the cusp
on the cusp of going out. So, is it a single bank or is that the first domino? We'll see.
It's one of my favorite, The Big Short. One of my favorite movies, obviously. What was it? One of the characters in there that was played by Steve Carell.
Yeah,
that character. It's like I love the part when they were talking about him as a kid when he was trying to find like discrepancies in the Bible or whatever it be. Like it's like perma bears. They're always trying to find like discrepancies somewhere in the big scheme of this philosophy of what all is good. Trying to find the discrepancies, what's wrong in the system. But I get it though. I get it because I kind of I kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just one other topic that's just so random that I saw. We topped $34 trillion of federal debt, and I just every day I see that number and I see how quote unquote like consumer confidence is good and the market's going up. Like, man, is our market being propped up by the government?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It has been
Right?
since 1972.
I mean, but isn't that? I mean, like $1 trillion was in jet. Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of debt interest in that money, but not that much.
Every day when I drive home, you ever see that sign in
Never
heading
see it
to
going-
the downtown Cleveland
Yeah.
area?
You ever see it go down?
No, never. I think when I first moved up here, it was like 65,000. Now it's 110,000.
I'd like to just see it stop. Just stop for a day.
It's like average
That's
debt per
not
person. Just so the viewers know, it's average debt per person, and there's a big billboard that just counts dollar by dollar every single second. And yeah, like I said, it was 65 when I started. It's 110.
Oh, I was 65.
It was 65
grand.
when I first moved up here. Because
Wow.
It's been there for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100,
And,
yeah,
now it's
110
like
a person.
106.
Does that include like kids and babies and stuff, or is that like
That's a
working?
good question.
I know. What's that number?
I'm pretty
I
sure it's
assume it
every
does.
single person.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the family load's like two and a quarter, 250,000. It's crazy. All right, moving on. Doomsday bunkers.
So after the debt explodes our country, let's move into a bunker. How much do these bad boys cost?
Hey, so it's crazy. There's, I don't know. I was watching. They had like a segment on Fox Business. So like they're taking there's two versions of what I saw, and obviously they have like these huge missile silos that were housing intercontinental ballistic missiles that go down 7-8 stories, and now they're just refurbishing them so that like a normal silo can hold 75 people for 5 years. That's insane.
Yep.
That seems like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're selling rooms, like a hotel room size thing is like $500,000. A 2-bedroom, 1 bath is $2 million. All right. So they're selling these quote unquote rooms, and something happens, like a bomb goes off or a bomb, rips across the sea
Yep.
from whatever country hates us at this moment, which is a lot of them. And how do you get to your bunker?
Yeah.
Is it in your backyard? No. So that led me to like read about the guys that are a business here in Akron, Ohio, that is building bunkers. So they'll dig a hole, put a bunker in your backyard, and
I have about an acre of land. I could do this.
Yeah,
I
you
don't have
could.
necessarily. I don't know if I'm.
Your
spending
neighbors are
money,
going to be
but
looking at you like,
they're-
"What's up?"
They're gonna be. They won't be looking at me when shit hits the fan.
So all right, so you get like, so let's be more realistic. You obviously want to be close to a bunker if you're trying to do that, and you put it probably in your backyard, right? So how long are you? I couldn't figure out like how long you're able to stay in there, because if a nuke bomb goes off and you only got 3-week shelf life, like
There's no
okay,
way
you-
you only have 3 weeks shelf life. Like I guarantee, just the crap I have in my house, I could probably last like a year. All the like munchies and junk food I have, whatever it be. Like,
but it'll
sitting
eventually
around.
like get
it's
expired.
probably about a year.
you're in that. You like that spam. That stuff's probably got
Spam.
that's got like a 4-year
Just
shelf
like
life.
all the
I bet.
rice you have or something like that. I mean, you've got somehow you'll be able to make it last. You're not going to consume 2,000 calories a day. You might consume 500. Like you'll be able to ration it.
Maybe. All right.
But yeah, the key part to the bunker is you got to buy, like the non-expiration food, like a pallet of that.
Yeah.
It's
like remember the astronaut food where they
Yes.
would take the like put that stuff in a Ziploc bag and
Yeah.
it was ice cream that didn't have to be frozen,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
I have two things I want to say. First off, if something like this were to happen, at that point, sometimes the point? I'd probably be like Woody Harrelson. Is that his name? Woody Harrelson from 2012. When he's on top of that mountain
yeah.
screaming like, "Come at me!
Bring it on.
You bring it on!" And the whole world, like, yeah,
It's beautiful.
that would be me. That would be me.
As the world is erupting around you.
The second thing I want to say is, I think this would be awesome, not just for like a doomsday scenario, but like to get away from your wife or girlfriend.
That's called a man cave, and I mean, there's different ways to do that. You can,
Just looking for some alone time in the apocalypse.
Honey, I'm going to the bunker. Come find me there. I'll be in there just relaxing.
Yeah, and then she's gonna start shoveling the dirt on the door. You ain't gonna be able to get out. Well, the owner of the his name Todd Stump down in Akron, the U.S. Bunker Company. He just made comments though. He goes, some people, like most people, are worried about like nuclear war and stuff like that. He goes, actually, quite a few like government and White House officials who have lost confidence are big buyers of this stuff because I'll call that insider trading information. Like
that
they
seems
know,
like bad news.
yeah, like if you're right, the people that are in the know are buying bunkers. Yeah, that is kind of scary. But they said like some people are buying for like natural disasters, hurricanes coming, a tornado, something like East Palestine.
I'm more concerned about civil unrest. Like you had a new movie on Netflix. I think it was directed by the Obamas, which is a different conversation, but I actually kind of liked it. Like I forget the name. Oh, crap, I gotta look it up now.
With Ethan Hawke on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's like about the world kind of ending, but basically the cheapest, most budget-friendly way to destroy a nation essentially is to make them confused, shut off all their shut off all their kind of communications and stuff like that, and they self-implode and turn on themselves.
Sure.
So civil war, things like that, civil unrest. I mean, crime's going up here in the U.S. That's what I'm concerned about. Talk about the border open, like terrorist attacks. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that will create civil unrest and possibly civil conflicts.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that no one's being deported from all these people coming over the border is some scary stuff, man. Yeah. That might not rear its ugly head until they organize. There's people that are,
Isn't the cheapest bunker like $21,000 though? Wasn't that?
It's like $12,000. Yeah. I don't know what. I don't mean. But
probably gets you one little room, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all you need.
I mean.
No, I think you need a lot more than that.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
crazy. You might go crazy.
I don't even know if you can buy a plot in a coffin for that much. Like, Jesus.
True.
A bunker for $12,000 is basically just a hole.
Here's a cardboard
with
box.
a roof.
Right.
You're not going to last in there for too long. You need water. You need air circulation.
So we didn't have a canceled really designed for the show today, but I saw something earlier this morning, and I've been saying it for years. So canceled traveling vacations abroad. Man, I've always said this, man. I really get nervous when I travel outside the United States because they don't have the same rules and protection as we do.
Yep.
So the travel bans go from like 1 is normal, and then 4 is like don't even think about going there. Right, so your 4s are the typical, Middle East, parts of Europe now, things like that. But when we start looking at where Americans like to travel, aka like Mexico, Bahamas, and Jamaica, Mexico's in between a 2 and a 3, and a 3 is reconsider travel. Mm-hmm. Like you bought your ticket, you should really reconsider going. Like, maybe see if there's a cancellation policy with whatever the hell you bought, right? Bahamas is at level 2. There's been 18 murders so far this year, and it's the travel ban is in the major cities. Yeah. Nassau and Freeport, like where all the
cruise ships,
the cruise ships go, the Atlantises of the world, Balmar, like things like that. But Jamaica, dude, they're going into the resorts and robbing and killing people. Like, you should highly consider not going to Jamaica.
I had a great experience last year in Jamaica.
Man, I was scared for you.
Yeah.
I went to Jamaica probably 8 or 9 years ago. It was one of my favorite trips. Yeah, it was awesome.
Again, you got to risk it for the biscuit guys.
Risk it. Well, when when did I go? I went to Jamaica like right after college. It might have been 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. My experience was not as lovely as what you guys, but I was on a cruise ship. Yeah, this is a good story. Did I tell this story yet?
No, but I know the story.
All right, I was on a cruise ship. Obviously, I'm right out of college, so I was partying, a little hungover, and I was probably me and the people I was with were like some of the last people to get off the boat that day, so I didn't get a normal cab. I got like a minivan that was rusted out and had a sticker on it that said like taxi. So that could have tipped me off, saying like maybe I should just go back on the boat. But we pushed through, and then me and my wisdom go, hey, you know what? I'd really like some authentic Jamaican food.
Chicken.
like, take me there. And everyone's on board. Next thing I know, I'm in like I don't know, like maybe a 10 by 10 shack.
Mm-hmm.
Literally a shack. There was a dirt floor. There was a 3-legged dog in the corner, and I'm like, okay, this isn't necessarily what I was thinking. Can we go somewhere normal? And I mean, we were just getting run around town, and we were the only taxi in the parts of town we were in, man. Like, I was a little concerned. We finally went into like something like a TGIF Fridays. We kind of got there, but they still said, hey, just don't drink the water here. Here's a bottle of water.
You're like, okay, we're drinking beer anyway.
Right. So that's my Jamaica story. I will not go back after that experience, but you guys.
See, we had a little private tour, and we went like, white water rafting. It was nice, Spend a little extra dough, and you can have a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, people like to travel abroad and stuff. I can't. It just makes me nervous.
If anyone's in Jamaica, I still follow the guy on Facebook that gave us a private tour. So if any listeners are out there going to Jamaica, hit me up. I can give you a good referral.
Tony's sitting here shivering, and Luke's like, hey, I got a referral for you to go travel in Jamaica. Anyway.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up. Thanks for listening this week. If you have any questions or show ideas, hit us up at info@swpconnect.com, and we'll talk to you next week.
The opinions expressed in the podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any investment, legal, financial, or tax strategy. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. Please consult a qualified professional about your individual needs.